Hi, Blake with BlvdHome. Today, we're going to talk about refrigerator types and which one's the best. So there's basically three types of refrigerators that are on the market. There are actually four, but we'll go with three because they're the ones most everybody have. You have top mount refrigerator. That means your freezer's on the top and you have your refrigerator on the bottom. You have your French door bottom mounts, which means your French doors are on top and you have a sliding freezer at the bottom, and you have your side-by-sides. But we're specifically going to focus in on the side-by-sides versus the French door refrigerators today. What are the advantages and disadvantages of both? Well, with the French door, it's really nice because your food is up high and you have this big section up there to be able to organize your food and be able to see your food, and it's up high. Especially when you get older like myself. I mean, with a side-by-side, your food is all on one side or the other and you're constantly having to bend way over to get down to pull your vegetables out of the drawers or find stuff that's located at the bottom of your freezer because it's buried in a basket somewhere, so you're always bent over and hunched over and digging through it trying to find it, and it's down low, and so you're down on your knees or you're bent over and you stand up, you're like, oh, did I really need to get that out of my refrigerator because your back hurts now. With the French door, your food is up high, it's waist high and above, so basically all of your stuff is right there. As far as your refrigerator section, you're in there, you can find stuff fairly easily, you can slide stuff around. You can also put big trays in there where you can't put that necessarily in the side-by-side. The disadvantages of a bottom freezer is the freezer compartment, because the freezer compartment itself is almost like a chest freezer. It's you put all your food in there, you stack food upon food upon food upon food in there. So when you're saying, gosh, I need to pull out this cut of meat I have in this thing, and I know I put it in there, you're like digging like a dog. You're digging and digging and digging, trying to hope to find this package of meat. It's a real hassle. I will admit it's not the greatest system in the world, but statistic-wise says you're in the refrigerator section 70% of the time versus the freezer section, which is 30% of the time. For the most part, you're only doing that for a little bit and bending over for a little bit. I know it's a little bit of a hassle, but it's truly what it is. But it's easier on your back overall because everything is up high, you're not having to bend over. So that is definitely an advantage over the side-by-sides. The advantage of a side-by-side is they've been around forever. They've been making them forever, and they're inexpensive. They really are. I mean, they're on average about $800 cheaper than a French door is, typically, because they're tried and true. There's not a whole lot of working parts to it, but the disadvantages of it is, again, not much space. You're always having to bend up and down to be able to get into these sections, so it's not very convenient as far as a consumer using it. Now, as far as repair, actually a side-by-side is easier to fix for the most part than a bottom freezer is, because the bottom freezers have a lot more working components, a lot more items that possibly could fail overall. The side-by-sides seem to be easier overall. So I'm just going off of my experience, but if I have to look at a French door and have to pull a fan out versus a side-by-side have to pull a fan out of the freezer compartment, I would much rather do it on a side-by-side. It generally is an easier aspect for me. So overall, that's going to be less money. It's going to have to come out of your pocket when you have repair costs somewhere down the road. Just real quickly with top mounts, we're not going to cover them real in depth, but with top mounts, they're small. And again, you may be stuck in a situation where you have to have a top mount. They're a great garage refrigerator, something to put out in the garage. But with a top mount refrigerator with a freezer on top, you have to bend over for everything. They are small and you're bending over for everything. Because everything in the refrigerator compartment, we talk 70% of the time you're in there, you're bending over for everything. Not just one thing, everything. You can get in the freezer a lot easier, and the freezer is easier to organize, but again, you'll be bending over a lot more. So take that into consideration, when you're thinking about top mount, but it is on the market. It is something that sometimes you have to have, but honestly, they're more for your garages nowadays than your typical home. Which is better? Well, for me personally, and the space I have, I can't fit a French door in my house. It's just, I'd have to shuffle some cabinetry around. If we do a remodel, I probably will. Or I could buy a super small one. I have to special order a small one in to fit, but I lose a lot of space. So based on your living areas or how the size of your kitchen, side-by-sides might be the way for you to go because that's what you have to, or that's what you like. Overall, I think the French doors are a much better refrigerator. That is what I would personally choose. If I could get it in my home, I would definitely do it because that is what I feel is much better overall as far as a refrigerator. And that's what everybody's going to. When I first started in this industry, bottom freezers were, I would probably see one for every 15 side-by-sides. Now I see probably 50 bottom mount refrigerators versus one side-by-side. So it's really flip-flopped and it's made a big reversal. So the French doors are probably the best, but if you're stuck with a side-by-side, well, you know what you've got to deal with and you know what your advantages and disadvantages are for it, so just shop accordingly. And so, well, I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions or any comments, put them below and be happy to answer them for you. Well, thanks for watching, but wait, don't leave yet because we have lots of other videos. You should check them out on our channel because there's lots of great information that you will definitely find useful. You know, if you have any questions about something, check them out. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again real soon.